Hello everybody, this is Simeonski again, and today I'm going to show you how to use circuits in a good way. I will go through the basics of circuits, what all the colors mean, and how to connect things in a good way, and how to make sense of all these things. And then in the next episodes there will be coming some more practical examples on how to use the Circuit CV2 system. So let's go right for it. Okay, I'm inside my macro room. And now let's go through the basics that you will need to build with circuits. You already have some of the basics, like how you use buttons, pistons, and everything in the previous tutorials. But now let's go through the basic workflow of Circuit CV2. Alright. So let's just start with a button here again. So you will see on circuits, you will have different outputs here. They are named. Player, for example, this is a player variable. What kind of different inputs and outputs do we have? Let me see if I find something that has a lot of different ones. Okay. Yeah, you can already see you have this these colors here, blue, light blue, and dark blue. What else do we have? You sometimes have yellow things that can be a lot of different things actually. And you sometimes will have, I think here, yeah, in the text. Here you can see, yeah, I think now we have all the colors that I normally use. So sometimes you have a dark blue, which is a color input. Then you have this light blue, which is a number that can also have numbers in between, like 10.5 or something like that. This is always light blue. Then you have a so-called string that will always be a text. And then you have a so-called integer, which is always a number but cannot have anything in between. It can only be a 5 or 6, no 5.5 or something like this. So it's a full number, so to say. And then you will have red lines, which is a Boolean variable. And this is a yes and no thing, basically. So let's put some of these variables that we have in this room just to explain what they do. To find variables, you just vary. You can just spawn them. I would just spawn them randomly. So we have the bool, spawn bool. We have the color. I will not use this now. We have destination room. Float is also one that we have a lot. Integer we will use a lot. List. I will not work with lists for now. I think these are the most important ones. Bool, float, integer. String. We also have a string. Yeah, string. So this will be the main things you will work with. Vector 3. We will not work with this yet. This is some kind of position. I will put it in anyways, but I will not explain this too much now, the vector, because I myself didn't play with this too much. So, as you can see now, we have different variables in the room. And let's start with the easiest ones and go to the more complex ones. It's more complex. Let's put it down a little bit. A string, maybe let's move it up. Yep. Alright, these are the variables you work with. So, float variable, as I told you, this is a number and it can be a 5.5 or something like this. Integer, it's also a number, but has to be a full number, like a 5, a 6, a 7, no point things. String will always be a text. And bool is a yes or no. Or you can also see it, it's a false or true. Yeah, that's what it will do. And a vector is some kind of positioning thing, so you get a precise position of an object in the room by using this, but I will not be using this for now. Alright, so what can you do with variables? Let's start very easily with the integer variable. We will use a button again. And then put it here. And let's say once the button is pressed, we can connect it to trigger this. And we want to say, let's say the integer variable would be money, for example. Money. Okay, click submit. And then you see this integer variable is money. And here you will see what is inputted when I press the button. It's 0 for now, and here's the output, it's 0. So let's turn this to 5 for now. And now when I press the button, the integer variable called money will not be 0 anymore, it will be 5. Easy thing to do. Press it, see, it's 5 now. So this doesn't do much yet. Let's reset our room a little bit. So 0 again, no, 0 again. So this doesn't do much yet, it just changes this variable. But what you can do now with this variable, you can clone it. And then, whenever I press this, the integer variable called money will be 5, it's an output. And this one will show the same, so they are connected in a way. What I can do, for example, with this is, I could, for example, change an integer. Maybe let's say we are... Yeah, I can change an integer that's the same name by clicking this. So what would this be? I can change a number of something or anything that I want to use. And I can do the same with the float, but there I can use, it's basically the same. But here I can use numbers like 5.5 or something, and here I can just use full numbers, so to speak. Then, okay, let me show you how this works by using this with the string variable for now, because the string is a text. Let's call this text and submit. And then we will connect the press button to text and say the text is button 1. Okay, now the text that is called text will be button 1 when I press this button. So I can easily now put a text field like that. Then clone this text thing here. Bam, clone it, so it's the same chip, the same string variable now. And I want to connect this to here. I need to have this here. This is not important for this. Let's remove it fully. So now the text is text, and when I press the button, the text should change to whatever is in the button. What would be button 1 now? So let's do it. And nothing is happening. Why is this? It's giving out button 1 here, and it's giving out button 1 there. Why is it not changing? It's super easy. It's getting the signal, but it doesn't have the signal here. So this doesn't know that something actually is happening. It gets the input, but it doesn't set the text. So let's do it in an easy way. Let's have another button here. And when we press the button, it checks what this text value is, and it sets the text to the same. So how can this be useful? Let's, for example, say we want to have two different buttons here that set the text to two different things. That's here, this button 1, and this would be button 2. We just change it here. Done. Okay, now what should happen? If I press button 2, the text variable will be button 2. And if I push this, it will get the text variable from here and put button 2 there. Oh, it didn't do it. Yeah, I did something wrong. Why did it go wrong? That's always a good thing. I put this in between, this was wrong, because this is setting it to this value, which is 0, and then it adds it to this. But I wanted to not set anything, but just check it here. So let's go. Now it should work. So now it should be button 2. I can see here, button 2. And when I press it, it tells me button 2. If I go to button 1, press it, and it's called button 1. Basically, this is the same. This also works with this with these numbers here, but in the numbers I can work a little bit differently. Let's go for the integer variables. The floats work the same, so I will not do an extra thing. I would just work with integers now. What can you do with integers? You can, of course, just use the button to set it to 5. Easy. Money will be set to 5. I can send the money value to this. And then it will show me how high my money value will be. You will soon see that I can connect. Oh, look at this. We cannot connect this. What's wrong with her? What's wrong with that? Why is this not connecting? This is super easy. You can always just connect green to green. I could connect it to this probably, set material number, but I want to connect it to the text. So how can I do this? This is a number, this is a text. So for this we need to put something in between that's called toString. It's a chip that's just called toString. It's just you need to know. And you might need this also for the other value. You would have to put it first to string, then it tries to make some text out of this number, so to speak, and puts it here. And now it should work and should put a 5 here. Okay. So how can you work with these integer variables? You can, of course, just have different buttons, setting up different numbers, doing like this, but this you can also do with text, there's no difference. But what you can do, you can just use some mathematical things here. You can use, for example, an add chip. Put it here, and once we press and we go from here, which is the output, to the add chip, add 1. Or not 11, we add 1. Let's add 1. Okay, and then go back to the money chip. So what is this doing? You can already see it here. The output is 5 now. When I press it, it will go here, add 1, and return the value. So it will basically turn to 6. Let's see if this works. Okay, now it's 6. Now it's 7. So it will always add 1. And if I push this, it will have the number here that this value is right now. So with this you can do a lot of things, like mathematical things. You can add or subtract or even divide or take by 5 or something like this, so you can do mathematical things, but what you will mostly use is the add chip. And actually, if you want to subtract, you don't even need to find a subtract chip, you can also just add -1, for example. So this would subtract. So this is the main thing you will need for this. And this would be the integer and the float variable that you can use in the same way. So let's come to the most complicated but also most important thing that you will use a lot. And this is the Boolean variable. Let's make an easy bool for now. Yeah, let's interact like we did before. Remove this for now. And it works the same again. You just configure it, give it a name, whatever you want it. Let's say, we just call it bool for now, just for the sake of learning this. So it's just called bool. So if you press it, if you press this button, then the bool will turn to true. And we will do something like this. When you press this button, the same Boolean, that's called bool for now, will turn to false. Easy. I press this, it's true. I press this, it's false. So how am I using this later on? I can do something that if this is, for example, easy example, I activate this button and it does something if this Boolean is true, and it does something else if this Boolean is false. How do I do this? I have a so-called if chip that we will also need a lot. We will have a lot of complex things. That's checking a lot of Booleans. So let's copy this. Here, okay. So. Right, so we have the Boolean here. We can check what it's sending out. It's sending out false now. Now it's sending out true. Now it's sending out false. So then the if chip comes in. So you press this, connect to the if chip, and then connect this output here to this input. And now this has a little bit of a learning curve here, because this chip now checks if this condition, this output here, is true or false. It can only have these two, true or false. So if it's true, the output is true, then this happens. If it's false, which would be the preset actually, if I don't do anything, it will always be false first, so just to let you know. Then it does something else. So let's say we want, let's do it with lights again. Lights are always good. So, point light. So let's say if, okay, yeah, let's just use one light, and just to make it super easy. You can do super complex things with this, but let's try something super easy right now. So we want if I have pressed this button and then press this button afterwards, then we want to turn on the light. So that would be the true value. Got to turn on. And if I press this button first and then this button, it should turn off the light. So we connect the else to the turn off. So let's see. So if I press this first, and then this, nothing happens because it's already turned on. If I press this first, and then this, it turns off. And if I press it again, it stays off, because yeah, you can see. This is also important if you work with this. You can see where your signal is going. It's enlightening it here. You see the signal is going in here, and the Boolean is false, so that's why it goes to else. If the Boolean is true, shows you it goes in here, and then it's true, and it's going to turn on. So I think let's stop it here for now, because this is the very, very basic things you need to know about the whole circuit system. These are the really, really main things. You can do complex things here. Oh, maybe one more thing I want to tell you, because I'm not sure if I can put this in. You can also not just put a name here for the booleans or for the integers, for any of them, but there's also some other options you can do with them. You have a synced option, a cloud variable option, and for this even a value option. Value option would be if it's true or false at the beginning. But these two, synced and cloud, you cannot have them at once. You can only choose one, or can have it unsynced, are super important. What does it mean? Actually, the way circuits work in Rec Room is they will play on your local machine, like on your Quest headset or on your PC. And if you're in a room together with other people, this Boolean variable is only true for you if you turn it. Like if I push this button, this would only turn true for me on my headset. Anyone else would not have the value changed, basically. So that's why sometimes you would have to do the sync button and have some values that will be synced throughout everyone that is in the room. Just so that you know. If something doesn't work with a lot of people in the room that worked before when you were alone, it's most of the time that some of these values are not synced to everyone. So, yeah, you might want to think about this, of course. If you are using, for example, integer variable, and you are using it for money that people collect, you don't want it to be synced, of course. Every player should have their own money. But if you have something like these light switches, or you do a quest together that someone has to open the door or anything like that, then you might want to have it synced, just so that you know. And just to be full on this and to explain everything, you also have a cloud variable. This is unsynced, this is just for the person you are, but this will be saved, so you can use the same variable in another room, not really in another room, but in another sub-room of your project, and it will get the number from there. This can be used, for example, if you have people collecting money or anything, and they go to a different sub-room, they will still have their money they collected from the room before. So, yeah, that's basically the basics, and yeah, these are the most important colors, as you see. These blue, green is gone right now, but do we have a green one here? The green one and the purple one and the red one, and the yellow ones are always something different, but you would also have to connect the right ones to the right ones. Sometimes it can also not work here if it's not the same, but yeah, the yellow ones can be different things, so you would have to read what it says. Here it says player, so this time you can connect it to a player. Here it says button, so you can connect something that's connected with a button, and that will influence how this button is behaving in a way. Or here it's gonna be light, yeah, light. And so you have some other chips that will influence this light that you can connect this to here and change not just one thing, but a lot of things at the same time with this. Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for watching again. As always, like and subscribe, and visit my extra room that I built to show off the things that you can do and to give you a little bit insight, especially when the circuits come up, that you can just check out, make a selfie, post it, whatever. And yeah, see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.